Hi, and welcome to this joint health course. Over the coming 4 series, we'll be covering all areas of the body through the joints and the muscles. So today's one will be concentrating purely from the knee down, and we'll be focusing through the toes, the base of the foot, the roof of the foot, the ankles, the Achilles, coming into the calves and up towards the knees. In the next 3 parts, we will be going into hips and lower back, spine. The third part will be going into shoulders, elbows, wrists and hands and neck. And on the fourth one, we'll be covering all of these areas. So we'll be hoping to look at covering all the parts that you've learned and maybe some little extras as well. This particular video today is a little bit of an extension to the introductory course I did for those of you who've attended. So you may find little few extras in here for today's course. For today's one, because we're focusing purely from the knees down, you're going to need a chair, a mat or the floor, and also if you do have to hand a strap or even like the rope off your dressing gown, something that you can put a little bit of resistance into, then that would be brilliant as well. There are options to do this all seated primarily if you do struggle to get down to the floor, but if you are comfortable with getting onto the floor, then please follow me on the floor exercises that I will do. I will demonstrate both so you can do either or. There are some elements of resistance in all parts of this series. So if you do have dumbbells or a set of tin cans available to you, then that's really useful as well. It's just to create a little bit of resistance. So the primary reasons behind the course that I'm doing today and for the next coming 3 parts is it's really important to me that we look after our joints. We tend, as we get older, to find that those joints weaken, that we find we get more tightness in our muscles, and little things become more painful to do. So if we can do anything that can help to ease that pain and release the areas of tightness, then that is what I'm aiming to offer you today. So we'll get started. So you're going to start on the chair to start with, okay? And I'm going to go sideways on just so you can see me. And everybody can get on this chair for now, okay? So I'm going to start with just finding a little bit of movement through my feet. Now, another part of my joint health thing is that I really encourage you to work on your posture. You'll see I'm not leaning against the back of the chair, and I really want you to encourage yourself to sit in a nice upright position rather than slouching or sitting into the back of the chair, which is supporting your back. So we want to think a little bit more about your back health, whatever else we're doing when we're doing this course. So back is up nice and tall. We're going to work into the left foot first, and we're going to just come up onto our toes, okay? And all I want you to do is you're going to rotate from the big toe all the way out to the little toe, and you're just going to move through the mound of the foot and then back out to the big toe again. So it's just a really gentle bit of movement, opening up. So if we're particularly stiff, or you at the end of the day are wearing shoes every day, our feet are enclosed, we're looking to really find some release and movement through the feet. Your feet are probably the most important part of your body in the sense of they carry us around day in, day out, and pretty much get neglected. So that's why we tend to end up with a lot of problems coming into our feet and what it radiates up into, such as our knees and our hips. So just moving through, and then we're going to rotate in the opposite direction. So from the little toe all the way out to the big toe. So keep this nice and easy. Keep it smooth as you can. Don't worry if when you go into the other foot, you find the movement is slightly different, maybe a bit more awkward. Just see how you get on with it, okay? So from there, with the same foot now, we're going to just bring the foot forward slightly so the knees are in line with each other. And I just want you to try and lift the toes off the floor and release. Lift and release. Now you'll see that I'm not trying to take the foot off the floor. I'm simply lifting the toes off the floor and releasing. So we're trying to find this movement, and you're going to feel this coming out through possibly the back of the heel here and the roof of the foot here as well. So quite often, again, we are very dependent on the fact that we push into the toes, but never really lifting up through the toes. So it's really important we find that flexion and extension through the toes. Good. And maybe spreading the toes out a little bit wider as we do this. Good. So holding it in. Then from here, we're going to take the foot slightly back now, so we can come up onto the toe. Now I've got quite high arches, so I tend to find I can get up quite high up onto a point. If you're a little bit more flat-footed or just not quite so much flexion, don't worry, it doesn't matter, okay? I just want you to find a little bit of movement coming up into the toe. You're going to feel that you're going to start to work into the calf muscles as well. Okay, so just really working up and out, okay? Just little squeezes, pushing up and out. So all we're trying to do at the moment is mobilize this joint, okay? So mobilizing through the toes, through the ankles, opening up through the roof of the foot and the arches of the foot. Okay, good. Keep going, pushing through. Good. 2 more. 1 more. Good, and release. And then finally, we're going to just lift that foot up a little bit, and you're just going to rotate through the ankle, okay? So little rotations through the ankle, all the way through. Good. And then switch direction. Good. And release. So let's go to the other side now. So we're going to go into the other foot. I'm just going to switch around so you can see me. So from this side, we're going through the toes. So we're going to rotate through the toes to the little toe and back round. So pressing into the toes as much as you can, getting a little bit of movement here. Good. Squeezing out. And then switching direction, keep moving through, keeping that back nice and tall, no slouching. Good, all the way through. And then we're going to look to just bring the foot forward just a fraction and then squeeze the toes up to the sky and release. Up and release. Let's do that 3 more times. Good. 2. And just notice if you see any sort of differences between one foot to the other, you may be absolutely fine, or you might find, like I say, one side's a little bit stiffer. That's fine. Bring the foot back, and then we're going to push up into the toes. So we're going to reach up onto the toes. And again, you might find your baby a little bit more clicky, maybe one side than the other. Just work into the toes. 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. Last one. Good. Okay, then from here we're going to draw that knee up as well, working into the ankle. So we're just going to go for a little bit of that ankle flexion, moving all the way through, just rotating around. Just go with what feels natural. Don't try and jar it across. And switch direction. Good. And release. Okay. So the next part we're going to do, you can either come to the floor, which I'm going to show you in a moment. For those of you who are seated, we're going to work into bringing our toes into points and then coming into flexion, okay? So we're going to extension and flexion, okay? Now, when we're doing this, if you can imagine, I don't know if you did this at primary school, like ballet, we used to have good toes, bad toes. That's what we're looking for here. So you can take your hands to the chair for support if you want. So if you want to use your core a little bit more, you can keep seated up tall. And you're just going to push down towards the floor, pointing the toes, and then you're going to flex the foot up. Point, flex, point, flex. Now, for those of you who are now on the floor, you're going to do the same, but you've got your legs flat on the floor. Now, there is a couple of things I want to show you if you're on the floor. So carry on for those of you who are on the chair. So if you're on the floor and you find you have a tendency to hyperextend, so that is to start to press into the back of the leg and the heels coming off the floor, it's worth getting a little blanket, rolling up and just placing it underneath your knees, okay? Otherwise, you're going to end up hurting yourself, basically. So in this position, because we're on the floor, it's a lot easier to do both legs at the same time. So you're going to bend and flex. For those on the chair, I want you to switch to the other leg. So bend, flexing and extension, okay? Reaching through. And as you bring the toes up, see how far you're bringing those toes up. There's a real tendency, again, we're quite used to pointing because we're like on our feet, maybe especially ladies, if you're wearing heels, really easy to be in this position because our calves shorten. But when we're coming up to here, you may find that's as far as you can go rather than draw it back. So just be aware of that as we're doing this, okay? Good. So just moving through doing this. Okay, now we're going to add in a little bit of sort of strengthening, a little bit of resistance work, okay? This is to help just to strengthen through the ankles. If you've had any injuries to your ankles, you know how long it takes to recover, and we really don't want to have to repeat that again. So a really good way to help strengthen up the ankles is to get a strap. Again, if you're seated on the chair, you can still do this seated on the chair, and I'm going to show you how to do that anyway. But for those of you who are on the floor, you're going to take your strap or your dressing gown strap or resistance band maybe, and you're going to place it around the mounds of the toes. So this part here, that's the top end of the toe, so here. Okay, so back is up really, really tall. Again, posture, press forward into the strap. So you're creating a little bit of resistance. You can see the whole time that this strap is strong and got nice tightness to it. We're not looking for it to be slack. Okay, so back is tall, drawing it in. Now, as we draw it in, you may be able to just wrap your hands around and start to draw and guide the foot back. Now, obviously, don't overdo it, but if you feel that it feels comfortable enough to draw it back, please do. Again, if you're finding you're starting to press into the back of the knee, be aware of that and grab a blanket, place underneath. I'm kind of used to the fact I'm quite hyper flexible, so I'm just aware not to dig deep into the back of my knee as I do this. So just press it back and then press it out, okay? Again, I'm just going to maybe loosen that a little bit just because of the extension. As I press out, okay, I'm looking to find a little bit more length and I can really push my toes forward, okay? So we do 3 to 4 of those, okay? And then you're going to repeat that on the other side. For those who are seated on your chair, okay, so I'm going to be on my chair here, exactly the same thing. So you're putting your foot into the strap, okay, same principle, okay, so we've got the strap nice and long, okay, and then from here, I'm going to push my foot forward. So now you can see I'm sort of pushing my toes down to the ground. So sometimes that's almost nicer because you've got something to aim for, but just go with whatever feels right for you, okay? So we're just pushing down. Just be aware that, you know, with these straps, they can have a tendency to slip a little bit here. So just be a little bit careful. And then as you're coming up, again, same principle, just be aware of the knee. If you're finding you're starting to overextend, kind of know that feeling because this starts to really flatten out at the back, then just take a little bit steadier, okay? But drawing the foot up, now create resistance. So you can see I'm really resisting into this. I'm pushing, I'm pushing, I'm pushing, I'm pushing, I'm pushing. It shouldn't be too easy that you can just get your foot down to the floor, okay? You can see I'm really having to work into the leg and then control, breathe out and release. So we're working on actually working into the Achilles as well here, as well as obviously the ankle. I mean, it's all connected as we know, but we're looking to really open up through the back of the Achilles, as well as working into like the roof of the foot and the arch of the foot as well. One of the key things to be aware of when you're doing these movements, and if you do find your Achilles gets very tight, calves get very tight, as I said before, quite a common one is women in heels, you know, because you're constantly in this position, that eventually the calf will shorten, okay, because it's not ever getting a chance to lengthen, okay. So it's really important you try and do these little exercises just to find a little bit more flexion. Otherwise, you're going to start getting real pain into like your heels, into the arches of the feet. I've actually worked with clients who've had similar problems because, actually not because of heels, but they have a similar issue where the Achilles has got too tight, the calves are too tight, and therefore they're struggling to actually walk flat. They're actually having to walk on their toes because that's the only comfortable way to do it. And you don't really want to be in that position, especially later on in life where you might not be in heels anymore. So we want to make sure we're really watching our feet. Okay, so taking that strap away for me now. So let's add in a bit more resistance again. So we're all going to come to standing, and you're going to take the back of the chair for me. If you don't have a chair, you can use a wall as well, and you can do this, like, not being funny, if you're at the kitchen sink or if you're, you know, brushing your teeth. It's a really good bit of exercise while you're doing your teeth. Okay, so hands at the back of the chair, and we're just going to press up onto the toes and back down. Now, watch the knees. Make sure that we're effectively locking out the knees. Okay, we don't want to be doing this. Okay, I don't want to see this. That's not what I'm looking for, okay? If I wanted to get you to do bar work, then that'd be something different, okay? I want you to keep the legs nice and long, back is tall, shoulders back, pull the tummy in and squeeze. Now, as we're squeezing, we're working in posterior chain. Posterior chain being the most important, I personally believe, because if you look after your whole posterior chain, your back, your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves, you're going to have a better posture and B, hopefully less niggles and problems. So pressing up onto those toes, squeezing up. So we're going to go and do another 10 of these. Now there's a good reason, and if it starts to feel a bit achy, don't worry, I have an answer to this in a minute, okay? So we've got 5 more, 4, and make sure you're coming right onto those toes, okay? Don't start just coming up here like this. That is not coming up onto your toes. Up onto those toes, right up to the top. And you can really feel these calves working, okay? Good, 5 more. I said that already, but you're going to do another 4 now. 3, 2, last one. All the way to the top. And release. Okay, so now I'm going to give you the release, okay? Hopefully on the back of your chair, you've got square back legs on it. So in that case, take your heel towards the base of the chair, okay? And then using this back foot, we're going to press up onto the back toes. So you're going to slowly rise up. Now, it might not be right onto the top of the toe, that's fine. And you're going to feel a really good stretch, especially through the gastrocnemius. Okay, so calves are made of gastrocnemius soleus. So we're going to really feel it possibly on the inner side of the calf, maybe on the outer side. It will depend where your foot's placing on the chair. The way to gauge this is if you just very gently move over to the left, you'll feel that stretch move across. And if you move the foot slightly over to the right, you'll feel it move across again into the other direction. Okay, now if you don't have the back of this chair here, you can also use a wall. Again, really handy. If you've just come back from a long walk and you've got quite achy calves, just bring the foot to the back of the wall, okay, of the house, and hands on the wall, and you're just pushing up. Now you see my front leg is long, my back is tall. Again, I'm not doing this because I'm losing that stretch. I'm keeping the back up really tall, pressing out. Good. So we're going to repeat that on the other side, okay? So we're coming into the right side now, bringing the foot parallel to that foot, and then we're going to squeeze up into the back of the leg, finding a nice long stretch into the calf on the chair leg. Good. Gently move one side and the other accordingly. Good. And you can hold these stretches normally, sort of 20 to 30 seconds, should be more than enough, okay? Okay, your next stretch that we're going to work into is this one. So we're going to bring the foot forward and the right foot back. So we're going back into the left calf again. There's more targets of soleus. This is kind of the bit in the middle, okay? Whereas this one, we could feel it coming up through the Achilles and then the gastrocnemius. This one, we're working more to soleus, so it's a central part. So what we're going to do here is you want to come down and you're going to take your hands to the left leg. Now it looks like a hamstring stretch, it's not what we're doing. Take your hands to the left leg and you're going to stagger with those staggered feet. We're going to push forward into the left foot, left knee, and you should be feeling that stretch coming down into the right side. Now you're also probably feeling this in the roof of your foot. So you might be feeling it kind of around the top side of the ankle, okay, maybe into the roof of the foot here. Keep the back really long. If you find this is a little bit like your balance feels like it's a little bit off, just take your hands to the chair, okay? Okay, good, and release. Switch sides, same again, stagger the feet. We're going to bend into this back knee, okay? Take the hands to the right leg, and then from here, push forward into that right leg, okay? So hold it here. Good. Keep that stretch. Make sure that heel stays down. If you're struggling, just bring the foot back a little bit more. Find that stretch. You might find one side is a little bit better than the other in terms of flexibility. Your balance, again, kind of quite common. That can feel a little bit out sometimes. So we're going to just, you can stagger out a little bit wider, So for me, my stagger position is like this. But if you're really struggling with balance is all over the place, just stagger it out a bit. It doesn't matter. it gives you a bit more support, and then just do it, okay? And then release, good. Just shake those feet off, give them a little wiggle. And then your final stretch that I want you to focus on is a nice standard stretch. You'll see most trainers teach you this, classes if you go to, they'll do this stretch. So we're going to take the foot back. It's a kind of a nice long lunge position, and we're keeping the back nice and tall. Now you can use the back of the chair. We don't need to really work on balance here too much. If you want to, you take your hands to your knee, but otherwise you can take the hands to the chair, and you must make sure you're pushing into the back heel, okay? We're not looking for you to then start coming up here. If you're doing that, or you're struggling to get the heel down, bring the foot in closer. A lot of clients I work with as well, in terms of flexibility, I mean, in the back of the Achilles, it's quite common that one side is absolutely fine, and then the other side has very limited flexibility. So that's fine. You just start off a little bit shorter stance, and then as you get a little bit stronger, or a little bit more flexible even, you can sink into that stretch a tad more, okay? So bringing it forward, switching legs. Good. And release, coming back up. Well done. Okay, let's just put that chair to one side. Okay, so a couple of other things that I'd like you to work on in terms of ankles. Bring the feet together. And we're going to do inversion and eversion, okay? So you're just going to roll onto the outer blade of the foot. And then from here, bring the feet maybe about hip width apart, and you're going to roll the heels or the ankles in towards each other, okay? Again, just find what feels comfortable for you. Don't go too far. Some people are very flexible and they will be able to bring it right over onto almost the side of the ankle, but that's not what I'm looking for you to do. I'm really looking for you just to find the inversion and eversion. Quite common as we go over on our ankle, as we call it. This is what happens. We come over on the side of the ankle, and then we end up spraining our ankles, or obviously breaking the ankle. And then come in. So again, just very gently. If you need it, take a chair to one side. You can support yourself on the chair as you open out, and then as you come in, okay? But very, very gentle. Just be aware of what your ankle is actually capable of. Quite often, when people have had injuries to their ankles, the first thing they do is avoid doing anything with their ankles because they don't want it to happen again, because they become very fearful of it. Far better to actually find the movement that you can within your ankles. Okay, so we're going to move on now into our knees. So the first one I want you to do is we're going to focus on some balance, and then we're going to work on a little bit of strength. So the first thing I need you to do is to actually find your balance. So we're going to press into the left foot, spreading the toes, and we're going to just take the toes just behind us. So I'll just show you on my mat so you can see I'm actually touching the floor at this point, okay? And then from there, I want you just to see if you can take your foot off the floor. It's really important we can find out where our balance lies. Now, if that feels absolutely fine, brilliant. If you can, you're going to draw the knee forward. Okay, now if at any point you just feel like you're swaying all over the place, grab a chair. Put the chair to the side on the standing leg, okay? So we'll have the chair on this side, and then bringing the knee up nice and high. And we're just going to gently mobilize through the knee, okay? So nice and controlled. So balance work, again, really important. If you don't work on your balance, you obviously have a greater chance of having falls and trips and that sort of thing. So if we can work on a little bit of balance, we're working on stabilizing muscles around those joints, okay? We're then strengthening up the muscles around those joints, okay? So you can see, just with body weight only, I'm really having to work, and you should be feeling this in your left ankle, having to work really hard to keep that stabilization. Your knee is working really hard to hold you, and this knee in the meantime is getting that little bit of mobilization here. And release. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So like I said, for those of you who want to, you've got the chair here, okay, and you're going to bring the left foot up, so maybe coming up onto one side, and again you may find one side brilliant, the other side, no balance whatsoever, okay? That's fine. So we just build it up, okay? So you might start from here, and then you might go to the chair for the second section, okay? And then we're just gonna rotate through the foot. Good. I'm really working on there, but otherwise, yeah, let's see if we can just hold it here, otherwise, if you've got it. And then switch direction. Good. Holding it here. So that foot is stabilizing, really strong, working into those thigh muscles as well, working into abductors, abductors. Okay, so we're getting everything working nice and strong. And release. Good. Right, just shake those legs off. Okay, now you get to sit down, all right? So you're going to come down to the chair. I'm going to show you sideways on, but obviously you face me for this bit. And we're going to work on strengthening the muscles that surround the knee. You can't fix the knee per se, like, because it's just a floating, you've got the patella, which is floating between the two main bones. Okay, so you need to work on all the ligaments, tendons, and the muscles surrounding the knee to help keep it nice and strong. So back is up nice and tall, and this is a really nice, simple exercise that you can do wherever you are, on your sofa, in the living room, whatever. Back is tall, draw the knee up. Again, my back is nice and tall, so I'm not working on using the chair, and I'm going to extend the leg out and release it down. Extend and release. You can put your hand on that left leg, feel for the quadriceps, which are working really hard to lift, and those quadriceps are running all the way down around the outside of the kneecap, and then that will join down into the shin. So squeezing up. Good. Press it out. Let's go for 5 more. 4 more. Good. And if you are struggling, you can take the hands to the chair if that feels more comfortable for you. 2. Now, the last one, I want you to just try and hold it here for 5 seconds. 5, 4, squeeze, extend. Make sure it's fully extended. It's not this, it's this. 3, 2, 1, and release. Good, okay. Let's switch into the other side now. So I'm going to draw the right knee up. I'm going to extend the leg out. You'll notice I'm flexing my foot as I do this. So we're completely engaging the muscle. Here it's a little bit loose. If you can try it out as well, just point the toe. And I do this, you can feel the whole leg is then engaged. Okay, press it out and in. Good. Out and in. Well done. Keep it going. 3, 2, 1. And release, and then let's extend that leg up nice and long. Hold for 5, back up tall. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release down. Good, right. Just shake those legs off. Good. Okay, final little strengthener for you for those legs now. So we're going to bring the chair forward now, and we're going to just go into little half squats. So again, it's working into quadriceps, working into glutes this time. And that way we can really help to strengthen up through those knees. And you're probably feeling it a little bit in the ankles as well as we do this exercise, okay? So taking the hands to the back of the chair. Now, when normal squat, we'd come all the way down, but I'm looking for you to just do a half squat. So a half squat is simply bringing the bottom back, keep the back long, knees are just behind the toes, possibly a little bit over the toes for some people. Press it out, okay? We're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Okay, well done. Okay, bringing it around now, we're going to come down to the ground, and I'm just going to work through a few stretches for you for the whole of the areas that we've covered. So your knees going down into the ankles, back to the feet again. Okay, so coming down to the floor. Now, for those of you who finding coming down to the floor is too much, I will show you alternative exercise you can do for this, or stretch. I'm just going to move the chair over here. We've got plenty of room. Okay, so the first one I want you to do is you're going to come down onto your tummies, nice and long. You're going to take the right arm in front of you and you're going to grab hold of the left foot. Now, for some people, grabbing hold of the foot is just too much. So you can grab the back of your heel if you've got trainers on, okay, or the back bottom of your leggings maybe, okay. Again, if that's still too much, you can grab your strap and you're going to place the strap around the foot like this, like so. And for you, it may be simply just holding the leg here, okay? So we're holding it here, finding that nice little stretch, okay? For everybody else, just taking that strap away, we're going to come down into quadricep stretch, grabbing hold of the toes, nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, I want you to release the head down, and you're going to press the hips into the floor as firmly as you can. So you're going to feel a really deep stretch, which is going to radiate from the knee all the way up to the hip, and vice versa. Relaxing the head down, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Release the leg. Good. And switch the other side. So grabbing hold of the other foot. Now, if you can, try and draw the knees together, but don't worry too much if that's a bit too much to do at this point in time. Nice deep inhale, exhale, release the head down. Press the hips into the floor, deep inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. And if you want to increase that stretch, you can press the foot into the hand, exhale, and release the foot. Good. Take the hands underneath the body. You're going to come up onto your knees. Any issues with knees, you can take cushions underneath your knees, etc. That's absolutely fine. But we're actually going to work into the back of the calves now. So we're going to take the left foot back, and we're just going to very gently rock forwards and back through the back of the calf. Finding a nice gentle stretch here. It's more of a dynamic stretch because I want to keep some warmth in these calves for you. And then finally just hold it back here. So there's a more gentle stretch for the calf. Keeping the body nice and long. Hands underneath the shoulders, switch sides. Take the right leg back and the same again. So nice little rocking back and forth. Good. Excellent. And then hold it back. Keep it nice and long. Well done. And release. Okay, coming round onto seated for me. Now, from here, we're going to just outstretch the legs, and I want you to take hold of the right foot for me. And all I'm going to get you to do is to take your fingers, and you're going to place your fingers in between the toes. And we're going to find some space in between those toes. Again, quite often, because we're in tight-fitting shoes, we don't really give our feet the same chance we do with our hands of spreading the toes. We don't do too much, but just give it a little wiggle, give it a little bit of space here. Good. And then from here, taking the left hand underneath, we're wrapping around the roof of the foot, okay? And then we can take the right hand and just supporting the ankle, and you're just going to very gently draw that foot up towards you. So you see that I can start to see the base of my foot towards me, so the sole of my foot. Just holding it here. Good. And then taking the right hand over the top this time, and we're just going to gently give it a little twist here. So we're just drawing the foot outward and just using the hand to cup the heel, pushing away. So it's a very gentle movement. It probably looks worse than it actually is when you're doing it, if that makes sense. So we're just very gently bringing it. So it's that inversion and eversion we did when we're stood, but just really gently using our hands to find that opening. Good. Extend the foot out, switch sides. So we're going over, taking the fingertips inside the toes. Always find one foot is much better than the other. And then from here, just a nice little wiggle, get these fingers in the toes, give them a nice little wiggle. Good. And then the same thing again. So this time, taking the right hand underneath the foot, the left hand to the ankle, just giving it a very gentle hold, and holding here, finding that nice little stretch in the ankle joint. And then taking the left hand over the top of the foot, so we're gently bringing it outward. So using this, the heel of the right hand, just to push the heel of the foot away. Good. And release. And then finally, just taking the feet together. And I just love doing this stretch more because although it is a hip opener, it's also a nice way to help think about relaxing through the knee joints, through the ankles, the toes, everything gets a chance to relax. So just showing you from that side and from here, and I'll just show you sort of slightly angle it on. So back is up nice and tall. Now the feet can be as far ahead of you as you like, okay, loads of space in between. And so just take a deep inhale, lift the chest up, draw the shoulder blades back, and just as you breathe out, soften the hips, soften the knees, soften the ankles, the feet, and give those feet a little wiggle. And then take the thumbs and place them to the inside of the arches of the foot. And all we're going to do is start to press those thumbs all the way from the center up through the middle of the foot and repeat it. So it's a little massage into the foot and maybe working your way out. So just showing you, I'm taking my thumb to the inside and pushing up, maybe coming outward, maybe coming to the outer side of the foot and the inner side of the foot. Okay, so press as firm as you want. Now, you might find you're going to one side of the foot and it's absolutely fine. You can push quite firmly and then you'll get to the other side and you just think, oh, that really hurts. Just be a bit kinder, okay? And if you find an area that feels really tight, then just hold that little bit of pressure on that area for a little while and then just release, okay? Good. Bring it all the way forward, release. And then finally with those big, with your thumbs, press down into here. So just between the top part of the big toe and the mound of the toe, you've got this ridge here. So you're just going to press through and out, okay? So you're pushing inward and outward, okay? So from here, nice little press. And it's just a really nice little massage to help release the feet. And then when you're done, final one now, find a wall. I'm going to come up alongside the wall. We're going to roll over, coming onto our back, release the legs up the wall, and relax. So with this one, we're looking to get our bum as close to the wall as we can. Now, if for any reasons it's uncomfortable, you can take a block or some cushions, place it underneath your bottom. But this is great, especially at the end of the day, if you get really swollen ankles, swollen legs, this is the one for you, okay? This is great for like lymphatic drainage, and it will really help to just relieve any pressure you've been feeling in your feet, your ankles, all through your legs. And this is also great if you suffer from anxiety, a lot of stress. This is a great position to get into because it will just slow your breathing down. You'll notice you can't breathe fast in this position. So you're going to stay here as long as you want to. I'm going to come on down, rolling over, coming up to seated. I hope you've enjoyed that. Obviously, there are other modifications to bringing your legs up onto the wall. You can take a chair and place your feet just on top of the chair. Or if you're on a sofa, you can lie on the sofa and just have your legs raised slightly at the end of the sofa. So there's a few different options there, you know, if you don't particularly like being down on the mat, okay? Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this and that you found this useful for you. I will be back again and we'll be covering the hips, the pelvis, the stomach and the spine. So please join me then and I look forward to seeing you. Take care.